Hello everyone, I'm Autobot Sonic, a Telltale gamer, bringing latest on everything Telltale games, Transformers, and more. So this weekend was pretty crazy, as back on Friday, at the Kind of Funny Games showcase that was live on YouTube, they they finished off the event with a teaser trailer for The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 3, Broken Toys. Now, the trailer is very light on new information. We only see one brand new scene, and that's only like 2 seconds of it. But we do have some ideas of perhaps one pivotal scene that may happen in the episode, so based off the trailer. And that's really all we can tell. It's kind of basically just a way of saying that, hey, Skybound's basically way of saying, hey, we're still making this episode. It's definitely going to come out. So it's as they say, it's literally just a teaser trailer for episode 3, and they say that episode 3 will be released on January 15th of 2019 for Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. Oddly enough, they don't mention whether about anything about the PC edition, even though episodes 1 and 2 have already been released on PC. They're not advertising the PC version at all for this, only the Xbox One, PS4, and Switch versions, which kind of worries me considering I have the final season on Switch, though, on PC, though. If I have to, I will get the final season on either Switch or Xbox One to finish the rest of the series. But anyway, yeah, so at the Kind of Funny Games showcase, they revealed that, explained how the last 2 episodes of The Walking Dead final season are developed by a team of former Telltale employees, which is officially called the Still Not Bitten team, which of course is a reference to Season 2 of The Walking Dead and Clem's obvious line, Still Not Bitten, which I think is really cool. And I think if they ever do decide, that bunch of team ever decides to, like, rebrand themselves, I think, like, just the name Still Not Bitten as a company would be really, really cool. And to show, like, how, like, it's kind of thematic in the sense that even though they were, that because even with Telltale gone, they're still gonna continue, that they're still not bitten. I really like that. Guys, if you decide to stay together and continue making, like, Telltale type games, please stick with the name Still Not Bitten Studios. That is a great name. So anyway, enough of my rambling. I'm gonna go ahead and play the trailer for y'all one more time in case you haven't seen it yet, and then we'll start dissecting it.
I guess the world got pretty hard since I left it. Kid growing up in it, he'd be hard too. You're in my shoes now.
My parents went on vacation and never came back. This man found me and took care of me. We met up with other survivors and we tried to make it. It didn't work.
You're strong, Clem. You can do anything.
Still not bitten.
Time to go, Clementine. You've got people that need you.
So the trailer starts off with a re-showing of the opening from episode 1 of the final season, Done Running, which we see Clementine and AJ in the car on their way to the train station. Now, what's special about this, that even though we've seen this footage before, it's what the voiceover is. And so the voiceover is that of Lee, but it's interesting that we've never heard Lee say this at all in season 1 or in the dream sequence he had with Clem in season 2. So it seems as though this will be a brand new scene that will happen in episode 3 of The Walking Dead, the final season. So in this voiceover that Lee is giving presumably to Clementine, he basically states how the world has changed a lot since he left it, which obviously refers to how when he left it means he died at the end of season 1, in which he's basically talking to Clem about how tough AJ must be having been born into the apocalypse back in season 2, and says that he doesn't envy Clem for how rough of a job it must be to take care of AJ. And it's really cool here is as we see this shot of Clem and AJ just like cuddling together back from episode 2 when they're like waiting for to hear from Violet and Lewis about whether or not they're going to be allowed to stay after AJ killed Marlon. We cut to another shot from season 1 of Lee and Clementine in Kenny's RV as they leave the motel after the Raiders attack and Lily kills Carly/Doug. And it's really cool to see the similarities, and even as Lee says to Clem in this dream sequence, I assume, in this voiceover, Lee says to Clem, "You're in my shoes now," basically is basically reinforcing the point that Clementine is essentially to AJ as Lee was to Clem in season 1, and that she's been now in charge of taking care of AJ, making sure he's ready for the apocalypse. And it's this nice little cut to show Clem and Lee in season 1, I think is really cool. After that, it's just, well, first off, we gotta talk about how we now have a Skybound Games logo instead of a Telltale logo, which kind of makes me sad knowing that Telltale's gone, but even though we're still continuing Walking Dead, even though it's not Telltale anymore, that kind of makes me sad, but whatever. Anyway, after that, it's mostly just repeats. We hear Clem narrating the narration. We see a bunch of scenes from seasons 1 and 2, such as Clem meeting Lee for the first time, her with Lee, Kenny, Omid, Krista, and Ben in Savannah, Clementine being forced to either kill Kenny or let him kill Jane. All this was when Clem we hear a voiceover of Clem from season 2 in which she discusses to Luke basically her whole story about like how she was left with her babysitter Sandra, and then Lee found her and they all went to Savannah to try and find her parents. And then after that, it cuts to a more footage of Clem throughout all the games, including the final season, which we've seen clips of, like, from episode 2 of her with AJ after Abel shoots him. We see, shots of a bunch of other clips from New Frontiers, as her and Javi riding on the motorcycle on the way to save David and Gabe, with Lee basically, repeating his, dialogue to Clem from episode 5 of season 1, in which he says how strong Clem is as he's dying at the end of episode 5. The real interesting thing that comes, the last interesting thing that comes out of this trailer is after Clem, we see her say "still not been" once again, in which we see the text saying "it's not over yet" appear, and it's in between the words "over" and "yeah," we see this brief, like, 1 to 2 second clip of AJ with, like, blood smeared all over, like, the right side of his face, holding his fingers out like a gun and going bang at presumably Lily, who looks completely, like, unamused, not just, like, totally unfazed by AJ's threat whatsoever. Now, this environment that AJ and Lily are in, I don't think we've ever seen before. To me, it looks like it may be the location of Lily's base, aka the Delta, as Lily called it back in episode 2, and many other fans are calling it. Now, I don't necessarily think that Lily's group is called the Delta. When I thought she meant Delta, I thought she meant, like, the river Delta. That's why I don't think we have an official name for Lily's group. It might be called the Delta, but I'm not quite sure. So, yeah, we're not exactly sure where this scene is that AJ and Lily are in. My guess is it's probably at Lily's Raider group. So maybe AJ and Clem, along with a couple other members of the Erickson school community, end up getting kidnapped by Lily. And it's very similar to episode 3 of season 2, when Clem and her group get kidnapped by Carver and they're forced to work at his base for a while. So it could be very possible. It could be very similar to that. And then after that, we get a really, really sad shot from the Walking Dead collection version of episode 5, in which Clem is getting ready to shoot Lee, but then it cuts to Clem waking up from her nightmare in episode 2 of the final season. After that, it then cuts to a slow motion. The trailer then ends with a slow motion shot of Clem, AJ, and Violet running out of the train station after their encounter with Abel, in which we hear Lee give one last word to Clem saying that it's time to go and that there are people who need her. Obviously, this really heavily implies that we will be seeing a dream sequence with Lee in episode 3 of the final season, in which most likely Lee will be reflecting to Clem on the actions that she has done ever since at least through this season, maybe even seasons 2 and 3 as well. I'm really, really looking forward to see what Telltale has in store for this Lee flashback, because for any who don't know, actually a couple days after The Walking Dead the final season episode 2 was released, some former Telltale employees, or people who claim to be former Telltale employees at least, released a concept art of, or at least 3D render concepts of what looks like to be Lee and Clem in her season 1 appearance, like with the dress and like the big bushy hair. They were looking for, they apparently leaked models of that in like the style though of the final season. Now, the person who leaked this claimed to be one of the people who helped design Clementine all the way back in season 1, and that these concepts of Lee and Clem were intended to be used should they ever decide to make a flashback for the final season. Now, I'm not sure if these models are officially made by Telltale, even though a lot of people are saying that they were. I'm not going to be putting them in this in this in this video, in case if you want to be unspoiled as to what they'll look like in the video. So, but to me, like, they look Lee and Clementine's designs, or at least Lee and Season 1 Clementine's designs, look very similar to the rest of how other characters look in the style of the final season. So, if you don't have to worry about them, like, looking very weird. If anything, I will say that Season 1 Clem in the final season's art style looked a little weird, but Lee actually looked pretty cool, fine in the final season's art style. So, if they end up using that model of Lee for this episode's dream/flashback sequence, I'm completely fine with that, and I can't wait to see what Skybound Games does with it. And so, that was my analysis of The Walking Dead, the final season, Episode 3 Broken Toys teaser trailer. As Skybound Games has said, we can expect Episode 3 to be released on January 15th, 2019 for Xbox One, PS4, and Switch, and possibly a PC version as well. So you guys excited to get back to The Walking Dead and finish Clementine's story? If you are, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.